Fuck. We are live, folks. I'm still going to try to do this. Sorry. This might get interrupted, but if not, sorry. I meant to stream this on mine as well, Kiyan. I'm going to stream it now.
You're good. I see it. D-spot connected.
All right. We're in the house. I'll change the title later. Welcome, you Kiyan Sobhani channel faithful. Welcome, the few of you joining us from D-spot. Reluctant intro here, but it is an intro nonetheless. December the 16th brings you another churros. Bad flavored churros. Neither of us are particularly happy. I tried to tell Kiyan that yes or yes, you will have to do the intro. Can you still hear me?
Loud and clear, bro.
Yes, okay, hold on. I obviously, dude, it's Murphy's Law over here. My internet connection has been fucking up, and now these sweet headphones have also died out. I need to charge them, so I'm going to be switching my headphones while I continue this intro. Kiyan, I can't hear you, so just give me a sign if for any reason whatsoever the microphone starts failing. If not, like I said, reluctant intro. I tried to get Kiyan to do it because I felt that he was in a better position after gaining some points, 1 point to be exact, and making up that ground just before the Christmas break with Atletico coming up for Barca is definitely a good enough result, I thought, for Kiyan at least to have these opening voids. But so be it. I'm nearly there, Kiyan. Thank you for all of your patience. And we're back. I can hear my boy as well on the other end. Kiyan, you should have done all this. It would have saved such a hassle. Did you see that? I just switched headphones and blurted out a intro, a reluctant one, like I said.
You're either first place or last place. And right now, we are last place and you are first place. I would never be able to do the intro. If I did the intro today, this is what it sounded like. Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácitcas Podcast. So I would have had zero energy. It would not.
Did I bring some?
You definitely brought energy because you were energetic. That counts.
Okay. Well, let's take it for what it is then. A reluctant intro. It's been a terrible weekend of football all around, I would say. Yours at least was a goal fest. It was entertaining from that perspective because what took place at the Luis Companys last night, my friend, my compañero, was absolute just garbage. It was a painful thing to watch, quite frankly. I should maybe make a distinction between the first and second half, but already from the get-go, I had an inkling the way that this game was going to go, given the fact that Leganés, the newly promoted Leganés, a fine team, Madrid-based team that, of course, has a history within the first division, but nonetheless a team that was hovering just above the relegation zone, coming to the Luis Companys, basically with the objective of staying alive. But it does feel that certain teams have caught on to the fact that, hey, this is not as dangerous or as hungry of a Barca that we saw at the beginning of the season. And it seems these players have a bit of a mindset where they show up for big games, and then the Las Palmases, the Leganeses now as well, the Celtas, I can put maybe even Betis in that equation, or Real Sociedad, are all teams that have come out more intense than we have seen Barca. And for all of the intensity chatter that we had on Friday, Kiyan, where we were talking about that Dortmund Barca and the importance of coming out, with maximum levels of intensity in terms of physical intensity, but also mental. We didn't see it in this game against Leganés, particularly not in the second half. And again, just to drill home that point, that was evident from the get-go when in the first 3-4 minutes, they already had two great chances. Could have been up one if it wasn't for Iñaki Peña. But then proceed to score the opener from that corner kick. And that was it. That was the game and done dusted, really. So, yeah.
I have two questions for you. Do you think we've seen the best of Barcelona already this season? And do you think we have seen the best of Real Madrid yet?
No, I don't think we've seen the best of Barca yet. It would be a terrible thing for culés if that were the case. The competitions are still wide open. We're obviously still in the running for all of the chatter that I had last week saying that this team is back to being a competitive side, even though against the Leganés it looked very poor in that second half. Where an ambitious team, it almost felt like these are players, some of them with their belly full, and are just not taking this serious enough. But it's still, we're not in crunch time yet. Mind you, picking up, what has it been like, dropping a 9-point lead, having only won one of the last, I think, 6 Liga games at this point, is very hurtful and can be detrimental, because we are gifting this league to Madrid and Atletico, as in, it obviously has allowed these two teams to get a second wind and have a level playing field and a crack at the league title, whereas before it was much more of an uphill task. So we can't let it, obviously afford any more errors now from this point on. But it's not that time of the season yet where the title is decided. It's quite the opposite. In the Champions League, we are at the cusp of qualifying in the top 8, and that's sets up a very good second half of the season. The Copa del Rey has to start now in January, as the least important, but still of the 3 cups that are for contention. And the Super Cup, obviously, the Chupito, this one. But then there's the Liga, where now it's a 3-horse race, and it's up to these guys to, with their backs up against the ropes, to come back out swinging again. And it's about time that they do, and stop fucking around against the more humble sides like your Leganeses and Las Palmases that beat you at your home, that beat you at your house, in your garden, for fuck's sake. And that is very, very frustrating.
I'll be really honest with you. I was shocked to see the Leganés score at the end of it, because I didn't watch it live. And I just checked the score, and I was like, and it's not the first time that I decided not to watch a Barcelona game and then was completely shocked to check the score at the end of the game. This has happened at least twice this season, where I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching that. I'm going to take my kids here. I'm going to take my kids to the arcade. I'm going to take my kids to visit my dad. And then I'm just like, later on, I'm just checking the score. I'm like, let's see how much Barca won by. And I think I'm not entirely shocked when they drop points away from home. Now, mind you, the Montjuic is not a fortress like the Camp Nou was. But I'm still shocked when I see Barca drop points at home to Leganés, and then catching up on it. And then you see some other things that are not so great, like Lamine Yamal getting injured. So it's one of those things where I think both Barca and Madrid will feel really frustrated about this situation, but also thankful. Frustrated because if you're Barcelona, you should be like 10 points ahead in the league right now, given the way that Real Madrid are playing this season. If you're Real Madrid, you're kind of like, wait a second, if we just had gotten our shit together, we would have been like 10 points ahead. But at the same time, they're both like, well, thank God the other team is dropping points and we're still in the game. That's nice. Atletico is just probably loving life right now because they don't have to. No one's really talking about them. They're right there. They could snatch this league title, and that's exactly where they want to be, underdogs and not being talked about, not favorited, but they're right there. They're playing awesome this season, getting results. The hunger thing, I don't know. I'm really fascinated by this Barcelona thing in general because there was so much hype about the way they started the season and the way
for good reason.
For good reason. But this is kind of the Barcelona problem. You gotta admit it, man. Like this is like they just get ahead of themselves so fast. There's not a whole lot of good things on football Twitter, but there's one great meme that I really enjoy, and it's the meme of like, why argue with a Barcelona fan when you can just wait? And I think it's just a great meme because it's this thing where there's just so much hype, especially after winning the Clasico. In so many cases, when Real Madrid lose the Clasico, it's like if you look at the surrounding results that are happening, they're losing to everyone. Like we were losing to everyone, and um, I just think there was just my point is this. I'm not even shitting on Barcelona fans. It may sound like it, but I think just if you look at the stuff that was coming out after that game, the trajectory of both teams, it was hard for a lot of people to see that maybe this Barcelona team is due for a come down after the new manager bounce and some of this hype dies down and you start to see them get tested a little bit. The one thing about Barca is they're thin up front. They have a great starting three in Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, and Robert Lewandowski. And there's not really much off the bench in that situation if you need a goal, if you need to change things. Would you agree with that? I mean, given the fact that Ansu Fati is not Ansu Fati anymore. By the way, did you see that Real Madrid were linked with a dude named Lamine? What is it? Lamini Fati. Can't make this stuff up. Real Level reported that Real Madrid is close to signing Leganés B player Lamini Fati for Castilla.
That's amazing.
You didn't see this?
No, that's
One
hilarious.
of the things that just looks totally made up. I think we should get him just for the memes. But anyway, like you guys are thin up there, and like with Lamine Yamal injured now, was it like 3-4 weeks? It's not a big test. Thankfully, we're heading into Christmas break. Not that there is much of a Christmas break, and you guys are already qualifying the Champions, so it's not that disastrous. So I don't even know what La Liga games he will miss, but
yeah, I mean, look, we have a Pau Victor up top. We have Ferran Torres up top, who's been hot in recent games. Not last night, but the last three prior games before that. Who else do we have? Obviously, Ansu Fati, as you mentioned, he's injured. Fermin Lopez, an attacking, forward-minded midfielder. And Olmo as well.
Olmo, yeah, that's true. I forgot about Olmo.
I have a lot to say.
Say it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
This is
I see
your
you put
podcast.
I see you put up a thingy.
Super chat. I put this up because it was related to Lamine Yamal, and I didn't want to. Just might as well take it now.
Look.
Let's read it. Hold on.
Let me. Okay.
Ural Desai, thanks for the super chat, says, for Diego, prayers to Yamal, and how serious is the injury?
So the injury is serious enough for him to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, a month. As you mentioned, Kiyan, with Christmas coming up, it's not that big of a deal, as in he won't miss that many matches. But the one he does miss, of course, is against the second place team at the moment, and the team coming in hot. Maybe the team most in form in La Liga, you could, I think, quite honestly argue. Atletico de Madrid is coming on Saturday.
Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona, they show up with Diego Simeone cuts off all their cojones in the locker room before they enter the field. And then
I forgot, it's that yearly where Kiyan gets to make up some weird Madridista narrative.
This is
you
from,
have that on speed dial. Look at you.
Of course.
So the one time or 2 times a year you can put that one out there.
It's bang on. It's not even a meme. It's just factual. Like, Atletico love you guys more than they love themselves.
Dude, I put that argument to bed last year just reading out statistics of recent
There's no stats. There's no words that can debunk this fact. Atletico, their entire they were born. God created them.
Hey, you're confusing.
In order to serve Barcelona and ensure that they
and you guys Atletico and us,
Yeah, this
because
is not compared at Espanyol to Atletico Madrid, please.
this narrative of yours just doesn't hold any weight or truth. Anyways, that being said, that's coming up next week. So we are missing our best player, or our second best player, at least up front for that game. Luckily, Rafinha, he'll be up for that one. So much is hanging on that guy. I want to pick this apart a little bit, because I don't want to leave behind some of the stuff that you said and kind of bounce off of that. The hype, the initial hype, what you mentioned with all you got to do with culés is wait. It's nice that you guys get to have these meme because of recent seasons, but it does also show the traumas that you guys have of Barca in recent years. And I'm talking to the one
That's
that
why I
the
said it.
most traumatized, that is you, Kiyan, from the Messi years.
Yeah.
Still trying to put
I'm still
up
traumatized from all those Champions League titles.
Cristiano argument and debate. Which, by the way, you slipped that past me on the Friday churros, and it went unnoticed by me. Did you see that? The people have been commenting in the comment section.
Oh, you didn't? What do you mean? What do you mean?
When you like slipped by me, that you were like in passing mentioned that Cristiano is better than Messi, and I didn't pounce on that because you were making some point, and I, like a good civilized person, allowed you to finish, and I didn't hear what you don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?
I remember saying that, but what are you saying? It's like what about it?
Yeah, I didn't hear you say that. And people in the comment section were like, "Oh, look, Diego didn't have a problem with it. He admits it. Yada yada." I didn't hear
I
you
don't
say
understand. You would have a problem with that? You think Ronaldo's not the GOAT?
Oh my God! What are you trying to do, Kiyan?
I'm surprised that you're surprised. Listen, I gotta go open the door for somebody. Go on your monologue. I'll be right back.
Yes. All right, I will go. Interestingly enough, the monologue was going to be focused on the game, and what I wanted to say was that with all of the hype that we had early on in the season, what I think has died down really is las actuaciones, like the participation and the production of certain key players that started out that season very well. And what I wanted to propose to Kiyan, is actually kind of go down the list, or go down really the team, starting with Iñaki Peña goal, and kind of give you a little bit of my feedback as to how I see their performances of late, and where I kind of am starting to pinpoint some of the recent woes within the Blaugrana camp. So that's the idea, Kiyan. Welcome back. Basically, what I'm going to do, just to bring you up to speed, is quickly run through in an orderly fashion the starting 11 and give a little personal breakdown of how I've seen them of late, given that Barca in the league have been very, very poor indeed. And I think now's about time that some players really kind of start taking a harder look in the mirror. So here we go. Iñaki Peña, I think, has been phenomenal. He was so yesterday as well. I definitely give him a pass. He was phenomenal is a big word in a game, obviously, where he led in a goal where, quite frankly, it was in the early minutes. Once again, we can see it very early on. But in that goal particularly, I don't hold any blame. I don't blame Iñaki Peña because of the fact that I think it was Eric Garcia or Inigo Martinez, one of the two. I think it was actually Eric Garcia that basically led Sergio Gonzalez all alone just in front of the penalty spot with a clean header, little that Iñaki Peña can do. And he had a very big save just leading up to that corner kick. So Iñaki gets a pass, right? Koundé, unfortunately, is failing of late. I don't know what it is with the French defender. He started off the season with a blast, being that explosive right back, the go-to for Barca when it came to moving or spreading the field offensively, giving the forwards another option on the right hand side, and also defensively being very, very accurate and on point. But of late, he hasn't been that guy. He's been self-critical as well. He's cost us cost us the game really against Celta, and he was open about admitting that, and I was hoping that was going to be a kind of a point in inflection. But in this game as well, Leganes, for what he really stood out mostly was that massive miss at the end of the game. It's basically him in front of the goal and not getting a shot, right, with a difficult angle, but not even getting the shot on target, not making the Leganes keeper work. Those ones, you at least have to put them on target, right? And he didn't do so. It was a painful night for the Frenchman as well. Then moving into hold on, let's go to Eddie Garcia again. The mistake with Sergio Gonzalez was probably the only mistake that he made on the night, but it cost us dearly. So I can't really uphold his performance, but I do think that he was better than Inigo Martinez, who has looked sluggish of late as well. Another player that started off this season being very solid, being very reliable, one of the key pieces, even if you will, of Hansi Flick's team. He became a
Did we lose Diego? I think we lost Diego. All right. Well, sometimes he comes right back. If not, all right, he'll be back at some point. Okay, so it's not just me. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't my internet connection. Listen, I think it'll be really interesting to see how the rest of this campaign plays out for Barca and Real Madrid. Like I said earlier, I think part of Barca's start was a little bit deceiving in the sense that we hadn't had a huge enough sample size to see how they would kind of deal with some adversity and some of the things that might not go their way. Like I said earlier, a little bit thin in the attacking depth chart beyond the starters. And it's actually interesting, I mean, with Barca in particular, that the tests that they have failed have been the easier tests. And they've actually rose the call against bigger teams. And in some sense, that's a good sign, for a good omen for them for the end of the season, but also the fact that they're dropping these points against teams that they should be beating has been hugely problematic for them. And I'm not sure if they can sustain some of the good stuff they did earlier this season. And I'm not entirely sure where this belly's full stuff comes from that Diego mentioned, because they have won shit all. And that's also surprising to hear. And I know that's just Diego's kind of diagnosis, and not necessarily saying they want a lot for their bellies to be full, but certainly I got to add Diego back to the stage here. El Gato's back. Diego, you there?
I don't know, man. May, can you hear me?
Murphy's Law. You're back, though. We hear you. You're back.
No, oh really? Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yes,
great. I
yeah,
can't
you're
see
back.
myself yet.
Yeah.
There's still, my computer is still giving me the old twirling.
As long as your
ball,
audio
for
works,
fuck's sake.
everything else is bonus, bro.
Okay. Well,
We
let
really-
me
yeah,
fucking.
we don't
fly
need to
through
see
this
the Barca
shit. I'm
jerseys
getting
in the
very
background.
annoyed here. Right. Exactly. I was at Balde. I was saying that Balde increasingly more frustrating performances coming from him. He gets by his players. Will put in just god awful crosses that don't meet their mark. It's very frustrating seeing Balde's performances at the moment. Pedri, everything is coming from him, man. Thank God for Pedri. Between him, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, I still have hope that we can. Well, I say that Lamine Yamal is not going to be there against Atletico, but I was going to say against Atletico to put up at least a fight. Pedri is got a bit of that dog in him that we see in Agavi, for example, or that we saw in Agavi before his injury. That Casado was, for me, lacking a little bit in this game. Casado put in some good passes. Look, Barca did have their chances, right?
Yeah.
Lewandowski and I'm getting to that, missed some absolute sitters, uh, and Casado as well, for all of his good passes, the ones that he did. A Dani Olmo or a Lewandowski, we kind of fumble those chances. And that leads me kind of to the Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo is not the player neither that we saw when he exploded onto the scene, post or prior to his injury. His injury set him back about a month, but he just hasn't been that differentiate, the difference maker, let's say, that he was prior. And in a way, I'm kind of like, I'm happy that this is happening now, because I feel myself in this. I was feeling that we were going to see this version of a Dani.
Diego's gone again, which really sucks because there's a couple super chats here that I've been saving, and I can't really answer them without Diego because we all really want to hear Diego's opinion on these and not mine. So like there's a Pedri versus Ceballos super chat. There's a question about Pep and Ancelotti. So yeah, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna switch. I never do this on YouTube, but I'm gonna switch to the actual chat and actually check the chat for once in my life. So if you guys have any questions that you want me to address in the next like few seconds, I will go for them. So just type them in the chat, and I'll address some questions. We haven't even talked about Real Madrid yet, so I'm happy to do that as well. So if you guys have questions, just drop them in the chat, super chat or not. Super chats we will address for sure when Diego comes back, but I'm going to just talk to you guys in the chat for a little bit. Nemarium says, Kiyan, how are you, brother? How are your kids? Kids are awesome, bro. We play pickup footy in our living room every single night. We would go outside, but it's like -10 in Canada. Pranav says Patreon members don't get questions answered on YouTube. Just send them. I mean, if you have questions for us on YouTube, if you're a YouTube member, you get them automatically. You don't have to pay. Like your YouTube membership should show up. And if you're a patron, just submit them in the members' questions on in our Discord. If you just search Managing Madrid Discord, you'll see it. Kool-Aid767 says, I told y'all we finishing third in my season prediction. We have bums as fullbacks, no left winger, no top goalkeeper. Lewandowski is trash as well. Well, you are one of the few Kool-Aids with foresight and can actually see through the smoke. Nemarium says, my question is thoughts on the Wirtz renewal with Bayer Leverkusen, what it means for Real Madrid, and it's great to hear you are doing okay. So, with Wirtz renewing with Leverkusen, I will just say that's great for Leverkusen, first of all. How many times have we seen kind of these up-and-coming teams in European football only be good for a little bit because the moment they get good, all their best players are poached up. This is basically FC Porto on repeat throughout their history. We saw it with Monaco recently with that Mbappe and Bernardo Silva era. We saw it with Monaco themselves like 20 years ago. And so with Leverkusen coming up, I don't think this actually guarantees Wirtz from leaving, that's for sure. What I think it does guarantee, though, if Leverkusen did depart ways with him, this at least guarantees them a transfer fee. So it's nice. I think it's just good for them as a club. And I think it's also great on Wirtz for renewing with them to give them that option that if he is going to leave, it gives them the ability to make some money from it. Welcome back, Diego. I spoke to the people in the chat while you were gone.
Look, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm getting like warning messages saying that I've run out of application memory. I still have fucking 40 gigabytes available of memory. Like, what the fuck am I? What is my computer doing?
I think it's Laporta hacking through because you're just criticizing Barca too much.
Look, I'm running out of gas here.
Okay, bro, you got this. Energy. Let's go. Why don't we do this? Roll out a quick churros. Just belt it out from your chest, from your diaphragm.
Absolutely
Do it. Come
absolutely
on.
not. No.
Come on.
Where was I when
I'll
I
do it with you.
where did you hear until where did
You were criticizing, I think, Balde.
okay, so you didn't hear the Casado, the Pedri,
Oh yeah. You spoke about Casado and Pedri being one of the few
Olmo?
guys who has the
Okay,
fight.
did you hear the Olmo point?
Yeah, you said Olmo is not playing with the same kind of form
Okay,
he
so
was at the
what
beginning. I'm gonna get my charger.
did you hear the
Yeah.
point? Wait, did you hear the point where I said that I'm happy in a way that this is happening now to him as opposed to when he just arrived? Because critics like me,
Right.
who were
No,
kind
I
of
didn't hear that part.
okay, so I was quite critical of his arrival, and because of the price tag, because of maybe priorities in other positions that were when he exploded onto the scene. Obviously, prior to his injury, he took the whole world by storm. The whole Kule verse was at his feet and in awe of how well his return to his native Football Club Barcelona was going. And now it's kind of like this is the version that I was more anticipating and fearful of. And that's what we're seeing. Look, not all hope is lost, but players like Olmo, players like Lewandowski, and yes, I do realize that I'm talking about a player in Lewandowski that is having near his personal best. I'm talking about a player in Dani Olmo's case that has already exceeded his personal best at Leipzig. And but players like that, Barca depend heavily on to accompany Rafinha because he can't do it all alone. Rafinha's been a fucking superstar, goddamn superstar. All that he's missing is to put in a final free kick that he had in the game against Leganes, the one that went over the crossbar. If he puts those in, he's like on his way to cement legendary Brazil status at Barca. I have no doubt about it. I absolutely love everything that we get from Rafinha. Hands down, one of my favorite players, if not the favorite so far this season. But we can't depend on a Rafinha and a 17-year-old kid, and a Pedri that is when a Casado has a more of an off game, which, poor guy. Fuck, we're talking about another teenager here. Give him a break. But we are thin, and that's in the end of the day kind of what set up this question is it is quite slim pickings for Barca, even in a very talented midfield, because what are you going to get? Is De Jong going to come out and play the lights out while he's hugely, heavily being scrutinized by his own fans every time he touches the ball? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't see the De Jong ship turning unless he really is that mentally strong and he can get his very best out once again before he'll probably leave in the summer. Is Araujo going to come back and give some competition to Koundé so that he recoups his personal best? We'll see. We will see. But also, those guys in the back obviously need a rest. Pau Cubarsí, who came out, gave the team a little push. But these guys have got to rest as well. So everybody needs to step it up a notch. Of those, in particular, the ones that I've shed a critical light on here, and just to resumir, and again, apologies for the technical mistakes, and thank you for your patience for sticking with us. But to basically summarize those that I'm pointing out because of this bad string of league matches are Koundé, Inigo Martinez, Alejandro Balde, Dani Olmo, Lewandowski, and that's it. Do I want to see more from Fermin Lopez when he comes out again? Of course. Come on, where's my Fermin? Where's my favorite player of this group? Gavi, who I understand. Gavi, De Jong, Araujo now as well. These are players that are in preseason. I do want to drill home that point with Culés listening as well, that are very critical and quick to jump on our own players. But Pedri, or excuse me, a Gavi and a Frankie that have been out, and an Araujo now for an extended amount of time. Obviously, in Gavi's case, an entire year of football. They are now in preseason, so I cannot. It's unfair to expect their 100% match fit and they're 100% that they're in their 100% reaching 100% levels right now. That's unrealistic, right? But I do surely hope that they are going to be back at their personal best come 2025 and quickly, because we need them. Man. We need these players.
They'll be back. Don't worry. There's 2 super chats here that I want to answer with you before your connection dies for good, before Laporta pulls the plug for good, because they can't be answered without you. So Pranav Jadhav says, Pedri versus Ceballos, who is better this season?
This is insulting. Pranav, I know you
I
well
don't think
enough.
Pedri's
You know very well. You know very well that your $2 will go to waste on this one by me saying, thank you for your contribution.
So what's the answer? I don't think it's that insulting to Ceballos. Like, I really don't. I know Pedri's had some issues on defense this season, been in and out, but he's been pretty good.
He's been good.
He's been good.
He's been very good.
He's been good.
His big fat Pedri. How much is honestly Ceballos been playing?
A lot lately, actually, because he's probably
with Camavinga out.
Well, not only that, he's our most informed midfielder after Jude and Camavinga, who's been out a lot. I think he should have started the last game. I don't think Modric should have started. He's been good this season for us. Really good. Ancor Giotti says, Carlo is poor, but still wins the Champions League with 3 ACLs. But the quote-unquote GOAT manager can't deal with 1 ACL injury. That same PR machine ranks Xavi, Iniesta over Kroos and Modric. It's not a question. It's a statement. Do you have any comments on this besides thank you for the super chat, Diego? I'm just curious.
From this, I'm supposed to take Carlo is a poor manager, but still wins ACL with the Champions League. Sorry, with 3 ACLs. Who is he referring to?
He is undoubtedly referring to Pep.
Well, what 3 ACLs? You have to explain this to me.
ACL injuries.
Rodri. Wait, but who?
No. Okay, hold on. Let me summarize the question. I'm gonna rephrase it. Ancelotti, it's not a question, it's a statement. Yeah. Ancelotti gets bad PR for winning the Champions League with a bunch of ACL injuries, while the quote-unquote GOAT manager...
We're out.
What? Last season, we won the Champions League.
Who was out?
Last season, we had 3 ACL injuries and won the Champions League. Courtois, Militao, and Alaba.
Courtois, Militao, and Alaba, right.
Yeah.
And Pep he can't deal with his best player, aka the Ballon d'Oro, being out. This is a poor analogy being drawn, and
it's not an analogy. It's not an analogy. Basically this is
Bordoloi is you're the one saying that. You're the one saying that Carlo is poor. I don't know who's saying that. I would have to first agree with those people that call Carlo Ancelotti a poor manager, I guess.
Is that what you think? Carlo Ancelotti is a poor manager?
Have I ever said that or thought
you just
that?
did?
Absolutely not.
You just did right now.
No, I said I would have to agree. Yeah, but do I agree? So. That's the question. No, I do not agree. I've never said that. It's true. In order for this, do
you see my head? Any hair left? It's all gone because of this. In order for this
statement to hold any weight, I would have to agree with this statement. Do I agree? No. Why are you losing hair of your nuts because of this statement, bro. Like, then you're the one that agrees with this. You think Carlos is a poor manager or what? I've never said that.
Do you want to see this clip that Hismeti made?
Yes.
Watch this. Let me know if you hear the audio. Lowe was saying that from what he knows, that there's actually a real close to 1 billion offer from Saudi for Vinny. What would we do? Like, you obviously have to take that offer, but at the same time, players have a 1 billion release clause for a reason. So, like, would you do it? You can't say no to that, right? I mean,
to $1 billion? Of course you cannot say no.
If Saudi offered 1 billion for Lamine Yamal, would you say no?
I'm sorry, Lamine Yamal. I love you so much. You can't. You no chance.
Really,
bro.
not that much.
You cannot put $1 billion.
Everything's for sale, brother.
What, everything, no problem. But hey, Captain, you work here? Go take coffee. What is this?
Audi R8.
Give me this. And this one also?
Yeah, okay, what else?
Give me that Mercedes, okay? This Rolls Royce. And give me one Red Bull also.
No problem.
You have Red Bull?
Red Bull for free.
That's good, isn't it?
Oh, that's good. That is so good.
I won't
It's
post it on
very-
social media, but I just
Oh
want to.
my
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, fuck. I want to post that bad. That is so funny. That is fucking funny, man. I really would love to post it.
You know, on Friday we did a show for patrons, and we actually spoke about Manchester City and whether or not we are scared of them if we face them in the knockouts. So since that conversation, we saw Manchester City collapse within 90 seconds against Manchester United at the end. This is a team in complete shambles. And maybe they just get it together for the knockout phases, because they only need to be good for like one or two games for each knockout round. But in the Premier League, I mean, I don't know. They're already 9 points back, and Liverpool have a game in hand. So I don't know if they can recover that. But I bring this up because we were talking about Pep and City and what they were going through. And I kind of gave you my analysis of what's going on there. But I think the general point of Ancelotti is just PR. This is what he was trying to say before you dismissed him and his 25 AED, whatever currency that is.
I think it's dirham.
What he's saying
Because,
is that Ancelotti is not given enough respect for his accomplishments, despite how
He's
difficult.
been given plenty of respect. If anything, what he's not given enough is enough grief for how bad he's been playing with this team for far too long, with having so many talented players. It's people sing Carlo Ancelotti's flowers, sing his praises, and throw him his flowers all the time, and rightfully so. He's a very successful manager. Is he the most brilliant football tactician? Excuse me. I think even Madridistas will, agree that they aspire more and better from their players, especially the current ones. So,
the
this
question
is Pep has been playing like elite football for many, many seasons now, and he's had a very competitive team.
Has also
And
spent the most of anyone in history.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that is true.
It's true.
Think that is
It's
true.
absolutely true.
More.
And we have these 130 charges looming. And
Yeah,
I'd
but so apparently with that is from prior to Pep's arrival, if I'm actually not mistaken.
my question to you is this: is the goal of being a manager, is it to be the best tactician or the best coach? Because there's two different things.
Mm.
There are some brilliant tacticians who don't even have a job. They're never going to be a good coach.
Mm.
So we got to look at the whole package of.
It's the debate we frequently have here. I mean, is it winning titles, or is it how you win those titles?
Always winning titles.
Is it quality?
That's not a debate. That's
quantity?
always winning. It's always winning.
We've had plenty of debates for you to know that.
But
that
it's
is
not a debate, though.
No.
It shouldn't be a debate. It should be a very clear-cut answer, and that's the goal is to win titles. That's
Well,
it.
that's not clear cut, because the goal is to entertain people and give them value for their money, who are paying high prices to watch goddamn football take place. And I'm more often than not very bored watching many clubs take place, many teams play a football that is not interesting, that is not easy on the eye, that is not fun to watch. People that criticize let's say an initiative taking style of football because they don't win enough titles, I think it's the wrong debate to be held. I think those that defend those teams that take more conservative approaches and play speculative football is kind of ruining the game at the moment, because we see that, for example, now in the Euro Cup that took place, you see teams like France, you see teams like England. The only team that played good football, entertaining football, was Spain and arguably Turkey and Germany, probably. But the other teams, quite frankly, even my beloved Oranje, dog shit football, man. It is not what it was. It's not the game that I fell in love with for the most part. And that is because why? Because all these teams with all their talents are just basically saying, you know what, if we can minimize risk and maximize that award, then all that matters is wins. And that's just not why I watch football. It's probably also the reason why, NBA viewership has dropped dramatically by nearly like 50% or something. It's just
okay, but hold on. You're speaking as a neutral in that situation, maybe, because you want to be entertained watching a football game, and I agree with that. Like, I don't want to dread turning the TV on to see some shit football. At this point, I'm very much an NBA casual and not someone who's watching the games. I'm very casual at this point. Watch highlights in the morning, etc. But as a fan of my team, all I care about is the trophy at the end. So whatever needs to take place to hit those goals is what needs to be done. So if what is required of winning those trophies is to play aggressive, high pressing football with lots of possession, then that's what needs to be done. If it's to play a low block counterattacking football, then that's what needs to be done. If it's a bit of both, depending on the matchup, depending on the game state, that's what needs to be done. Lifting the trophy at the end will never be boring for me as a fan, regardless of what happens on the way to it. So that's where I fundamentally disagree.
See, I guess we're always going to have that disagreement, because I cannot sit there and watch these amazing talents have to minimize their, not be able to showcase their talents because the coach is taking an approach where he's saying, look, sit back in a low block and just capitalize on any mistake, just run at them and try to do as much damage as it can. And then, if we get a goal, then we're back to that formation. Or, I mean, like, for example, City Madrid, man, in the Champions League last year, it was like a painful thing to watch. Just Madrid basically allowing themselves to get dominated, while you see the names that they have on their team. You're like, play football, man. Play these guys de two a two. Play them from 1-on-1. Like, play them for what they're worth. Your players as well. Do them justice. For all the talent that you have, they could be playing a lot. They're executing, the game of football in a lot more of an entertaining, fun way to watch than just basically what we have been seeing. And I don't think that is, I think that's fair criticism.
So you want Real Madrid to make it easier for Manchester City?
Not easier. I just think that they can compete at a more of a de two a two, as they say here, like compete head to head.
I think they obviously can. They obviously did that for the first 10-15 minutes. They dominated that game and then scored the goal, and then they retreated. The first leg also, they went at City and ended up 3-3. So obviously they can, and I think there is an argument that Real Madrid should be doing more of that. I don't disagree with you. But at the same time, they won that game. And you could argue that game would have gone on forever and City would not have scored. I think the biggest criticism of City that is completely fair, you're talking about like NBA viewership being down, and there's all kinds of reasons for that. Pep's system these days is just so boring, man. We're talking about like what is boring and what is not. I don't understand how anyone can enjoy watching City play. They've turned Jack Grealish from one of the most creative wingers in European football to this guy who has to get the ball and then pass it backwards. Like that's like
Okay.
I would
Sure.
shudder to
You-
think
you
like
can-
what he would do to Vinicius Jr. Like we would not having this free flowing expressive football that Vinny is playing now. Like it would be a nightmare to see that scenario unfold.
Surely, like Pep right now, the way that his players are executing what he is preaching to them is painful, right? Is not a good thing for City fans, for Pep's season at the moment. That being said, and not hyper focusing on Pep, but more on the philosophy. Now, call it football total, call it Cruyffism,
Yeah,
call
but
it
see, whose
whatever.
philosophy? This is the thing.
Well,
This is like
but-
asking
but-
like which religion is the
without-
best. You know what I mean? It's
right,
gonna
right.
be
So, but without stigmatizing it or without giving it a name, let's just say like what makes like the content of it, right? Like what makes up, quote unquote, that more attacking, free flowing style of football, and I guess there's certain parameters, like certain criteria that tick the boxes, if you will. Taking an initiative. High octane game, high energy, dynamic, quick paced, fast passing, one touch, if you will. It can be more slow tempo as well, more of a controlled, passive buildup, if you will. But with the emphasis of dominating your opponent by playing the game of football. Dominating it through an offensive style of football, one where you outscore your opponent, where you're out to do what the game is being created for, and that is to put a ball into the back of the net and do so as many times as possible.
Yeah, but this is where, and I hate having this conversation again, and I know you do too. Like but I think you can dominate teams defensively. Like I bring up this example a lot. Peak Atletico, like 2014 range, was in control of almost everyone by just playing defense, and they were in control. This is exactly where they wanted them. Great example is Real Madrid putting 4 goals past Pep's Bayern. It was, to me, breathtaking to watch them defend like that, to rotate as quickly as it did, and just so quick with their passing and the counterattack. It was devastating. Like that was some of the most beautiful football I've ever seen in my life, was that 4-0. And so when we're talking about styles and like what is the best way to play, again, it's like picking your religion. Everyone's going to have their beliefs and their views, and you can't shake anyone out of it, I don't think. What I will say is, look, unfortunately, we just got a bunch of super chats now about football style. So now we gotta go through that. But
Quick, because I gotta go.
all right. Let's take a quick break from counter-attacking football and style of football. Pranav Jadhav says, outside of Madrid's number 7 and Barca's number 10, which jersey number has the best legacy among these two clubs?
I mean, 14. Or actually, I should say number 9, really. 9.
Okay. Who are the lists for Barca? Nazario, Romario?
Cruyff. Cruyff was 9.
Big one.
Contrary to, because he was 14 at Ajax in Holland. But I'm going to limit it to that. Otherwise, we're going to stay here until tomorrow.
Number 9 at Real Madrid. Like, obviously, like Benzema, Nazario, Hugo Sanchez, Santillana, Cristiano at one point. Di Stefano actually wore it at one point. Ivan Zamorano, Bam Bam, Butragueño wore it for a little bit. So, yeah.
I'll throw a bonus one. 19. Va, toma. When Messi first broke out in the team, in the first team, and it's now the number of Lamine Yamal as well.
Willard says, thoughts on Valverde becoming one of those players who blows their XG out of the water, not in volume, but in the quality of his shot. Is he doing that right now? I assume he is. I think he's like all of his goals are bangers from outside the box. This season he has 4 goals on an XG of 0.7. So bang on. Back to Ancorgiotti. Real Madrid's 2022 Champions League was arguably the most entertaining, movie-worthy even. This Barca entertaining football narrative is also just PR. You can't argue with it being entertaining as hell that season.
I don't know. I can argue what I want.
Willard says, beautiful footy doesn't win you trophies. Also, Diego, what's beautiful? Because Grealish dragging the ball on the left just to pass it back is not appealing. Oh, that's the other point I wanted to make about that City Real Madrid tie. City had a bunch of the ball, but nothing really meaningful or surgical. Very little.
Yeah, it was. It was very predictable.
I think we're both exhausted of this style discussion. What do you want to? Is there anything that you want to discuss before we wrap it up that we haven't yet?
No, just what annoys me is the technical issues that we've had. That we've delayed this for far too long. Just thanks for your patience. Join us on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas and join the discussion on there. Thank you for your donations, for your questions. I will be better prepared for the next one. I continue to strive to improve with the passing of every single podcast. My wording will continue to improve, as will my vocabulary, and as will my passion to defend the Blaugrana colors, something that will never end and be a thorn in the side for all you Madridistas for
Most of the people
as long as I live. May it be as long as I live. Well, cool. Go to D Spot. Sign up to my goddamn channel. Show some love. And let's go have some dinner. What's
Guys,
up?
Just one more thing. I thank you for all the super chats. You would actually save a ton of money if you really wanted to get under Diego's skin and send us like controversial questions. You can just sign up once, pay like $3 a month, and ask as many questions as you want, because we answer every single question once a week over on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. Membership there it pays for itself for all you guys sending us super chats to get me and Diego to fight, because it's just super cheap. Patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas. Once a week, Diego and I ask for questions. We answer every single one that comes our way. We don't skip any. And so you just would save a ton of money. We look forward to seeing you guys there. Diego, a lot went wrong for you this weekend with Barca, with the technical difficulties and all that stuff. So you deserve a churros. So after this, take your kids to the closest churreria and just have some family time, have some churros. And we'll see you guys on the Patreon episode this week. Thank you, man.
That's right. Thank you all.
Oh, one last one. Ancorgiotti. Thank you guys for the content. Churros.
Thank you for the
Peace out,
questions
dudes.
and the donations.
Let's do it.
Peace out. Have a good
Thanks,
week,
guys.
y'all. Bye-bye.